President William Ruto has come under increasing pressure from the United States government for the prosecution of security officials who've employed extra legal tactics to crack down on peaceful protesters. Less than 2 weeks after U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken said as much to him on the phone, the Undersecretary for Civilian Security and Democracy and Human Rights, Uzra Zeya, delivered this message to him in person. Our very own Olive Burrows. There is more.
Let your actions match your words, is the unerring message from the United States government to President William Ruto with respect to holding police accountable for the deaths and trampling of civil liberties in response to protests against his government. A message passed on phone by U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken less than 2 weeks ago and followed up in person by his Undersecretary for Civilian Security, Democracy and Human Rights, Uzra Zeya, that the police should protect and not terrorize the citizenry. And where they violate this principle, as has been witnessed during the protests, they should be answerable to the people for their actions.
I encourage President Ruto to take concrete action on his recent public pledges to strengthen rule of law, champion anti-corruption initiatives, and advance accountability within his own government. I think the key question is the implementation of these commitments into action. And one specific area, which I highlighted in my opening remarks, is the importance of investigating reports of security force abuses, prosecuting those found to be responsible, and ensuring that accountability is achieved.
Zeya making these remarks after meeting with various security sector players, among them the Independent Policing Oversight Authority, which has accused the Office of the Inspector General of Police of sabotaging its efforts to investigate the killing of protesters by the police. And as for whether there will be consequences should the U.S. government's call for the respect of human rights go unheeded,
I would underscore to you, it's well known that U.S. security assistance, partnership cooperation programs are also subject to U.S. law that requires that we are vigilant, with respect to our partners upholding human rights. And where there are allegations of gross violations of human rights, we have to be attentive and call for accountability.
The Undersecretary denying that the U.S. government has turned a blind eye to these violations after it bestowed a great honor of a state visit on President William Ruto 2.5 months ago.
And I have seen that throughout the protests, the United States, led by our embassy, but supported by my boss, Secretary of State Antony Blinken, we've urged the government of Kenya to conduct prompt, transparent investigations into allegations of violence and hold those responsible accountable.
In the course of her 2-day visit to the country, Zeya passed on the same message to the Principal Secretary Interior, Raymond Omolo, and the Director of Criminal Investigations, Amin Mohammed. She also met with other players in the justice system, including Chief Justice Martha Koome and the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission.
We are going to continue to concentrate our efforts and support strengthening Kenyan government investigative prosecutorial and asset recovery capabilities to take the ill-gotten gains of kleptocratic actors and return them to the people.
Olive Burrows, Citizen TV.